But what if we never set them free in the first place? What if love, what we call love, isn't love at all, but a contract, a cage? A beautiful word used to mask a deeper fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of losing control, the fear of not being enough. We don't love people anymore. We hold them, we grip them so tightly that we don't notice when their spirit starts to suffocate. We check their phones. We count their replies, we give them curfews and conditions, and we call it care. But real love doesn't beg for reassurance. It doesn't need chains. It doesn't thrive in cages. Because love without freedom isn't love. It's obsession. It's anxiety with a smile on its face. I once wrote, love is the active concern for the life and the growth of the other. Active concern, not ownership, not dependency. Not possession hidden behind sweet words and desperate kisses. Look around. We are not in love, we are in fear. Fear of being left. Fear of being replaced. Fear of facing our emptiness without someone to distract us from it. And so we cling. Not out of strength, but out of survival. We don't say, I choose you because I love you. We say, don't leave me or I'll fall apart. And we call that love? No. That's a deal. That's a contract written in desperation. It's not two souls meeting, it's two wounds locking in a silent agreement to never grow. But real love demands something terrifying, freedom. It means letting the other person breathe. It means choosing someone who is free to walk away, yet still stays. It means knowing they don't belong to you and loving them anyway. That is what most people can't handle because that kind of love requires maturity, security, self-respect. So instead we choose the easier path. We build emotional prisons, we call it commitment, we call it passion. But the truth, it's fear dressed up as romance. I warned you of this. I said, love is not a feeling we fall into. It is an art we must. And no true artist begins by locking their canvas in a cage. So in this video, we're going to confront something most people never will. The dark truth about love and freedom. Why our relationships fail. Why we mistake control for connection, and why, until we set each other free, we'll never truly love or be loved in return. Love has become one of the most abused words in the modern world. We say it so easily, I love you. But what do we mean? Too often, when people say, I love you, they mean you belong to me now. Your time is mine, your attention is mine, your choices must revolve around me. This is not love. This is possession, and possession is the very opposite of connection. You see, real connection is voluntary. It is chosen again and again by two people who remain free. But possession is forced. It is clung to. It is protected with jealousy, fear, and control. It is an unconscious attempt to erase freedom in the name of love. Let me give you an example. A man meets a woman. She is confident, social, full of life. He says he loves her, but slowly he begins to resent the very things he once admired. He asks her to stop going out. He wants her to check in constantly. He feels threatened when she's around other men, even when nothing happens. And she, to keep the peace, begins to shrink herself. Bit by bit, she sacrifices her independence just to be safe in his love. She loses her voice, but tells herself, this is what commitment looks like. This is not love. This is emotional captivity. And yet it is everywhere. It is in marriages. It is in dating apps. It is in those late-night arguments fueled by the fear that we are not enough. People are not looking to love one another. They are looking to own each other, to secure their place, to eliminate uncertainty, to turn a partner into a permanent solution to their loneliness. But the paradox is this: the more we try to possess another person, the more disconnected we become. Why? Because possession kills curiosity. It kills spontaneity. It kills the mystery that connection needs to breathe. The moment we assume ownership over someone, we stop seeing them as a living, changing, evolving soul, and we begin to see them as a fixed object. Mine. And as soon as someone becomes an object, we no longer relate to them. We relate to our expectations of them. We project, we demand, we correct. We fall in love with who we want them to be and punish them for who they are. This is not just a relational mistake. It is a spiritual tragedy. You cannot control someone and truly see them. You cannot manipulate someone and still love them. Love dies in the presence of fear, and fear thrives wherever freedom is denied. I want you to reflect on this. When you feel insecure in love, what is your instinct? Do you open or do you tighten your grip? Most people choose the latter. They confuse safety with control. But control never brings safety. It only brings temporary silence. A partner who stays because they are afraid to leave is not with you, they are surviving you. And that survival will one day turn into resentment. Resentment will rot the roots of your bond, and one day you'll find yourself lying next to a stranger, or worse, someone who has become just as afraid of love as you are. If you want real love, deep, lasting, transformative love, then you must give up the desire to possess. You must allow the other person to be fully human, free to disagree, free to grow, free to change, even free to leave. And if they stay, that is love. Not because you trapped them, but because you never needed to. Love is not destroyed by hatred. It is destroyed by fear, quietly, silently, without warning. The fear of being left, the fear of not being enough, the fear of abandonment. It is this fear, not hate, that poisons modern love. Let me be clear, most people today are not in relationships because they are ready to give. They are in relationships because they are terrified to be alone. And when love is born from fear, it does not heal, it controls. It becomes anxious, possessive, paranoid. You may recognize it, the panic when they don't text back fast enough, the knot in your stomach when they go out without you, the arguments that begin not with betrayal, but with imagination. This is not love. It is fear wrapped in a mask of affection. You tell yourself, I'm just afraid of losing them. But what you are really saying is, I cannot face myself without them. And so you begin to build the prison. You create little rules, subtle restrictions. You ask questions not to understand, but to monitor. You change your tone. You shift your moods. All to test if they still choose you. Slowly, the relationship becomes a performance. Not a connection between two souls, but a dance choreographed by fear. I warned you about this long ago. He wrote that modern man is not truly free, he is terrified of freedom. And nowhere is this more obvious than in love, because to truly love someone is to let them go. Not physically, but emotionally, to let go of the fantasy that you can control what they feel, to release the illusion that you are entitled to their love just because you crave it. But people do not want this kind of freedom. They want guarantees, certainty, security. So they hold tighter. But here is the truth that most cannot bear. The tighter you hold someone, the more likely they are to leave. Not because they want to, but because they have to, because their soul cannot breathe inside the cage you built with your own insecurity. The mind tells us, if I can control the situation, I can avoid the pain. But the heart knows better. Love and control cannot coexist. And yet most of us were never taught how to love without control. We were taught conditional affection. We were raised with emotional transactions. If you behave, I will love you. If you disobey, I will withdraw. So we carry these contracts into adulthood, into romance. And then we wonder why love feels so fragile, why we are exhausted, why we are never truly at peace with the one we claim to love. Let me give you a different way to see it. Imagine holding water in your hands. If you clutch it tightly, it spills through your fingers, but if you cup it gently, just enough to hold it without force, it stays. This is how love works. When you grip too tightly, you do not preserve love, you destroy it. You turn it into a tool to soothe your fear. But love was never meant to be your therapist. It was meant to be your companion. A partner is not responsible for healing the wounds you refuse to face. They are not responsible for making you whole. Only you can do that. And once you do, once you confront your fear, once you accept the possibility of loss, then and only then are you capable of love. Because now you are not trying to escape yourself through someone else. You are choosing them freely. And more importantly, you are letting them choose you too. Real love begins the moment you stop needing to be loved. Because then love becomes a gift, not a transaction, an offering, not a prison. We speak of love as if it happens to us, as if it's a force of nature, uncontrollable and divine. But this is one of the greatest lies we've been taught. Love is not something you fall into. It is something you build brick by brick, day by day, with presence, with patience, with effort. Love is not magic. Love is art. And like any art, it demands practice, understanding, and above all, discipline. You do not become a master painter by feeling inspired once. You do not become a musician by playing when it's convenient. And you do not learn to love by falling in and out of obsession. Yet this is how most people approach love. They chase the high, the thrill, the intensity, but when the spark fades, they say, it must not have been real. And they begin again, chasing another fire, always seeking, never staying. Why? Because the modern world has trained us to confuse intensity with intimacy. We want fast love, instant chemistry, perfect compatibility, but real love, deep, sustaining love, is not found. It is forged through silence, through conflict, through choosing again when it would be easier to leave. This is where discipline enters. Because love without discipline becomes indulgence. It becomes whatever feels good in the moment without regard for what truly nourishes the soul. I have said before, to love someone is not just a strong feeling. It is a decision. It is a judgment. It is a promise. It is not passive. It is active. It is work. Not the kind of work that drains you, but the kind of work that demands your fullest self. Discipline in love means doing the uncomfortable thing. It means being honest when it's easier to stay quiet. It means listening not just to the words, but to the pain behind them. It means apologizing when your ego wants to defend. It means staying curious about your partner long after the mystery has faded. Because love is not about discovering the perfect person, it is about seeing the imperfect person perfectly. And you cannot do this without practice. Without awareness, without inner strength. Let me ask you something. When your relationship feels dull, do you assume the love is gone? Or do you take responsibility for the art you stopped painting? In today's culture, when love stops feeling good, we blame the other person. We say, they changed. But so did you. The art was abandoned. The discipline was lost, and so the connection began to decay. Freedom plays a role here too, because discipline is not control. It is not about shaping your partner into who you want them to be. It is about shaping yourself into someone who is capable of deep, enduring love, and that requires freedom, both for yourself and for them. You cannot practice real love if you are enslaved by your own wounds. You cannot grow a relationship if the soil is made of insecurity, resentment, and fear. Discipline is the act of choosing love, even when it hurts, even when it's inconvenient, even when your old self wants to run. And this is why most people never reach real intimacy, because they never stay long enough, never go deep enough, never become strong enough to carry the weight of love's true form. They want the fruit, but not the soil. They want the fire, but not the wood. They want the beauty of love without the cost of becoming someone worthy of it. But you must ask yourself, do you want love or do you want the illusion of it? Because if you want the real thing, then you must treat it as an art, one that requires your presence, your honesty, your freedom, and your discipline. Only then does love become what it was always meant to be, a union of two souls who have chosen not to complete each other, but to walk together, whole and free. If love is an art, then the ego is its greatest enemy, because you cannot truly love someone while trying to win. And yet, modern relationships have become battlefields, silent competitions for control, unspoken wars of pride. Two people locked in a cold standoff, each waiting for the other to surrender first. I won't text first. I won't apologize. I won't show I care more. But let me ask you, what exactly are you protecting? Your ego? Your image? Your imagined power? And what do you lose in return? The answer is always the same. You lose connection, you lose intimacy, you lose the chance to love. Not the idea of a person, but the real, breathing human in front of you. This is why I say love begins where ego ends. You must choose between being right and being real, between defending yourself and understanding someone else, between proving your pride and protecting your bond. But this is a choice most people are afraid to make, because ego feels like strength. It feels like armor. But in reality, it's just a wall that keeps you safe and keeps everyone else out. And still, we cling to it. We'd rather lose a relationship than lose the argument. We'd rather punish the other person than reveal our hurt. We'd rather walk away than admit, I am afraid, I need you. I don't know how to fix this, but I want to. Why? Because ego tells us that vulnerability is weakness. that softness is shameful, that to yield even once is to become powerless. But here's the truth you must confront. There is no love without vulnerability. There is no love without humility. There is no love without saying, I was wrong. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm trying to be better. Love does not demand perfection, but it does demand the death of your pride, because pride divides, it silences, it punishes, and over time it turns affection into resentment. Until two people are no longer lovers, but cold strangers performing a script neither of them believes in anymore, and all because they were too proud to break character. I've said before, love is the active concern for the life and the growth of the other. How can you concern yourself with someone else's growth if your only concern is defending your image? When you drop the ego, something miraculous happens. You become free. You begin to love without expectation. You begin to listen without needing to fix. You begin to speak not to manipulate but to reveal. And in that space, love returns, not as a flash of passion, but as a steady, living presence. You no longer need to win the relationship, because now it's not a competition, it's a collaboration. You are no longer trying to conquer them. You are walking beside them. That is where real love begins, where the ego ends. So if you want to save your relationship, kill the part of you that's obsessed with being right. Kill the part that keeps score. Kill the part that loves to punish with silence or sarcasm or withdrawal. Kill the ego and let love live. There is one thing I must leave you with. Love, real love, is not found in control, not in obsession, not in fantasy. It is found in freedom, in the terrifying, beautiful freedom to walk away, and the deeper, sacred choice to stay. But this kind of love is rare, because it demands everything the modern human avoids. It demands inner strength. It demands self-acknowledge. It demands the courage to stand alone before you ever stand beside someone else. Most people want a relationship that saves them from themselves, that fills their emptiness, that distracts them from their fears. But what they do not understand is this. No one can love you in the way you refuse to love yourself. You may beg for attention, you may demand reassurance, you may call it loyalty, commitment, destiny. But if it comes from fear, it will rot. If it comes from possession, it will suffocate. And if it comes from ego, it will shatter the moment it is tested. Love without freedom is not devotion, it is dependency. It is a subtle spiritual form of imprisonment. And both the jailer and the jailed suffer quietly inside it. But when you are free, when you are no longer afraid to lose them, that is when you finally deserve to have them. Because now your love is no longer a strategy, it is a gift. You love not to be loved in return, you love because it is your nature to give, not your need to receive. This is the love that liberates. Not just the other, but you. Imagine it, two people, both free, both whole, both capable of walking away, yet choosing every day not to. Not because they need, not because they fear, but because they see each other clearly, and in that clarity, they find something sacred. That kind of love does not bind, it expands, it does not punish, it protects, it does not fear freedom, it requires it. This is the final truth I offer you. Love that does not make you more free is not love. It is an echo of fear, a shadow of control, a performance we inherit from a broken culture that fears loneliness more than it desires truth. But you, if you are brave, you can break this pattern. You can love without owning. You can care without caging. You can release the person you love from your fear, and in doing so, finally set yourself free. So I ask you now, do you love or do you bind? Do you connect or do you cling? Do you choose this person or do you need them to choose you because you cannot face yourself? Be honest, because only through that honesty can love begin. Only in that silence, free of control, free of ego, does love return to its original form. Not a prison, but a path. Not a contract, but a connection. Not a cage for the soul, but a place where souls meet and rise. If this message spoke to something inside you, something raw, something real, then maybe it's time you stopped chasing love and started becoming it.